And welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, and today we're stepping into something that cuts deeper than your average dystopian drama, The Long Walk. It isn't a flashy or action-packed, it's a slow, punishing march through despair, loyalty, and the quiet unraveling of the human spirit.
Warning.
Okay, just keep walking. That's right. Just keep walking.
Yeah, that's it, kid, that's it. Second warning. Third warning.
It takes heavy sack to sign up for this contest. I'm not gonna go through the whole rule book, but it boils down to this. If you fall below the speed of 3 miles per hour, you get your ticket.
Based on one of Stephen King's earliest novels, this adaptation by Francis Lawrence throws us into a deadly national ritual with 50 teenage boys walk until only one survives. No breaks, no finish line, just keep moving or die. This isn't about saving the world, it's about surviving your own mind, and that's what makes it brilliant. With raw performances from Cooper Hoffman and David Jonsson, and I believe that's how you pronounce his name, I do apologize, and some haunting direction that lingers like a bruise, The Long Walk doesn't ask you to enjoy the ride, it dares you to endure it. If you're into character-driven stories that punch hard and leave you thinking after those credits roll, you're in the right place. Stick around and let's break this one down step by brutal step. So let's talk a little bit about the premise of this film. Like I mentioned earlier, this is in the near future where America is held together by a fragile post-war order. Its citizens are pacified through a gruesome annual spectacle called The Long Walk. There's 50 boys or 50 teenage boys, I believe they're like between 18 to 20-ish, each chosen at random, quote random, from each different US states, and are forced to compete in a brutal contest with one rule: walk a steady pace or die. The rest, no finish line, no mercy. Every step is watched, broadcast, and judged by a nation hungry for a distraction. The winner is the last boy standing, receiving apparently a mountain of wealth and a single wish. I know, crazy. Everyone else executed the moment they falter. So we follow Ray Garrett, and a quiet but determined teen who's thrust into a hellish ritual without fanfare, along with his bonds with another character of Peter McVerbs. It's like fries. Oh my god. Peter. A sarcastic and soulful companion who quickly becomes the film's emotional core. Together, they navigate the psychological toll of the walk, surrounded by a cast of archetypal peers, your classic bullies, idealists, loners, all of whom the friendship and survival are on collision course. This film wastes no time with the world-building exposition. Instead, it throws you straight into the walk, making you feel every blister, every warning shot, every loss. The brutality isn't just physical, it's existential. The Long Walk forces you to ask if winning means being the last to live. Was it worth it all along? When a film this minimal in premise, the performers have to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and in The Long Walk, they carry every mile, in my honest opinion. Cooper Hoffman, who plays Ray Garrett, with a soft-spoken intensity that's easy to underestimate. He's not a natural leader, nor a rebellious icon. He's just a kid, overwhelmed, uncertain, and raw. But Hoffman tapped into that beautifully. There's pain behind his eyes, even in silence. you feel like he's consistently one step away from breaking, and the tension gives all the film much of its emotional gravity. But opposite to him is David Jonsson as Peter McVibes. and honestly, he's the soul of this movie. Peter could have been written as a sidekick or comic relief, but Jonsson turns him into something much more layered, a jaded realist with flashes of hope, anger, and unexpected warmth. His chemistry with Hoffman is electric. Their evolving friendship becomes the film's emotional axis. You want them to both survive, but the fact you know that they can't, that's the heartbreak. We're continuing on. We have a full cast. Like I remember, there's 50 kids on this road. Garrett Waring is chilling as Sebastian, a similarly distant competitor who walks like he's already seen the end. Then there's the eerie calm to his performance, someone playing a different rules or already resigned to fate. Ben Wong delivers one of the most tragic arcs as Hank Olsen. There's innocence in his eyes, and the fades with every mile. Wang captures that descent into exhaustion and hopelessness without ever feeling performative. Then continuing on, we had Charlie Palmer's Gary. Is it Gary? Gray. No, it's Gary. Is it Gray? Barkovich adds vitality to the mix. Insecure antagonist, the antagonist type who could snap at any moment, but even he doesn't fall into cliche. And Palmer plays him with just enough nuance to make you wonder, is he really bad or just a broken like the rest of them? And Roman Griffin Davis, I think that's her name. There's so many people here. It's brief but memorable role as Thomas Curley sets an early tone to the devastation. His wide-eyed optimism crashes into reality within minutes, and it's gut-wrenching. Honestly, there is so many different characters that you would enjoy to have to continue watching, even in the background, as you saw the main characters talk amongst themselves. There's so many good performances, even for what little they showcase. But the antagonist, the quote antagonist of the Major, played by, which surprised me, I didn't realize, by Mark Hamill, is distant but effective. He's not a mustache twirling evil dude. He's a cog in the system, cold, distant, passionate, and that's what makes him scary. And here's the truth: everyone here feels like a person, not a trope. Even though many of them are clearly drawn from familiar archetypes. You got your jock, your nerd, your orphan, the rebel, but the film allows space for each of them to breathe. And in that space, they become more than labels. They become real. So, like I mentioned, the plot of the Long Walk is deceptively very simple. The boys walk or they die. But beneath the surface is a tightly wound psychological pressure cooker. And Francis Lawrence, to his credit, never tries to overcomplicate it. There's no cuts to rebel factions, no government conspiracy unraveling in the background. The world is what it is, brutal, indifferent, quietly falling apart. And that decision gives the film its power. Lawrence leans all the way into restraint. The film isn't structured around twists or grand reveals. It's about watching these characters unravel in real time. The paces might mirror the physical and emotional exhaustion of its subjects. Slow, methodical, restless. Some will find the middle third a bit drawn out, and they're not wrong. But that exhaustion, it feels like it's part of the experience. It forces the audience to sit with the monotony and despair, just like the boys do. The question isn't what happens next, is how much longer can they keep going? So kudos to cinematographer Joe Williams. does incredible work here. He captures wide and open highways that feel suffocating and framed with the marchers like soldiers in war that never end. There's no glamour in this world, no sweeping vistas, just asphalt, sweat, blood, and breath. And let's talk about the little exposition we do get. There's no info dumps explaining how society ends up like this or why the long walk exists. The rules are given quickly and the consequences are immediate. The choices keep the focus locked on the boys and their journey, and it trusts that the viewer can to absorb the world through the way people behave, not through dialogue or narration. And that's bold in my opinion, but it works. That's what I felt like. I didn't feel like I needed more than that. What the film does so well, it explores why behind survival. Why do they keep walking? Why do some crack sooner than others? Why don't they fight back? It's not about plot machinations. It's about endurance, fear, and the way the system conditioned us to accept cruelty as normal. And yeah, there's the ending. Yes. From what I'm told, it divvies from the book and it makes a statement. Whether you think it softens the story or enhances the emotional resonance will depend on your expectation. But either way, it does add some level of depth, and it forces a level of conversation, which I did have with my group as we left the cinema. And that's exactly what like good storytelling should do. It should leave you asking questions. That's what I think. So what makes The Long Walk linger isn't just the plot or the characters, it's the atmosphere, the emotional texture that the film is crafted with surgical precision through sound, silence, and subtle horror. Let's start with some of the score. There's not a lot of music, it's very minimal, almost ghostly. There's long stretches where music is absent, and when it does creep in, it's never loud or manipulative. And it hums with a tension that under the skin, low, mirthful, and reflective of the body's slow erosion. Now, the sound design is where things really shine in this movie. Every step, every footstep, every breath, every distinct crack of the gunshot carries a weight. It conveys a hum like a mechanical reaper behind them. The warning system, those are cold, calm countdowns before the boys are executed, and is one of the most chilling aspects of the film. It's cynical, it's routine, and that's what makes it horrifying. And for what some people would consider horror elements, it feels more, in my opinion, more psychological than visual. Don't expect like a gore fest, even though there's a lot of dying and it's pretty visual. It's more, it feels more about the dread of what's coming, and it's the despair of what's already happened. And that's what the film doesn't shy away from these uncomfortable reality. You'll see the boys struggling with bodily functions, collapsing from heat stroke, mumbling in delirium. And what's worse is that everyone keeps walking. No one stops and grieves. Death becomes part of the rhythm. And even in those moments of grace, those tiny fleeting moments where someone helps another boy or shares a memory or they're just cracking jokes, these are emotional lifelines that remind you that these aren't warriors or chosen ones. They're just young, they're just kids, young men, scared, tired, and are just trying to find meaning in something designed to break them. And, last thing, the cinematography, like I mentioned earlier, echoes an emotional frailty. There's no flashy editing, no stylish tricks. It's long takes, steady shots, harsh lighting that turns every drop of sweat into part of the terrain. And yes, there's a little humor, but the absence feels intentional. When it shows up, it's awkward and human. Not to lighten the mood, but to remind us that what these kids are still clinging to. A shred of normalcy, a flicker of defiance, or just a need to be seen before they disappear. So, yeah, I've been chatting up. This movie had a lot for me to say. You know, The Long Walk isn't in the way I feel, it isn't really here to entertain. It's one of the few films that feels like it's here to haunt you. This film strips dystopian down to its barest, most brutal forms that dares you to sit in it, you know? With no flashy rebellion, no grand escape plan, because there is none, no honest, easy, real moral victories. What you're really left here is raw human endurance, tested mile after mile after mile. Like, Hoffman gives a subtle, soul-worn performance as Ray, while Jonsson as Peter offers the emotional anchor that keeps the film grounded. Their bond is the heart of the story, and it what makes every loss sting a little more. Director Francis Lawrence leans into the stillness and silence, trusting the material, and it pays off. The most suffocating the cinematography to a cold finality of death, this film builds the mood that lingers long after the credits. And like I said, yes, the ending shifts from the King's original work, but it doesn't soften it from what I've been told. I think it deepens it. It challenges you to reconsider the cost of hope. Bleak, brutal, and beautifully acted, The Long Walk is a slow, deliberate masterpiece. It's not for everyone, but if it's for you, I'll let you know, you're not going to forget it. You will not forget it. So that's it for this episode Reactioncast. The Long Walk might not be the loudest film of the year, but it's definitely one of the most affecting. If you made it to the end of this review, you know why. This isn't just a movie you watch. It's one you feel, one that lingers in your bones long after the screen fades to black. If you've seen it already, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did the ending hit you for you, or did any of the character arcs land the way they should have? Or maybe you were left more frustrated than fulfilled. That's the beauty of a film like this. It starts a conversation instead of ending it. So drop a comment, hit the like button, and break down any process of anything. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already part of the channel. I got more reviews and retrospectives and reactions coming your way. So thanks again for listening or watching. Until next time, see ya.